Vengeance!
Welcome to another Top 5 with Kris 05, boys. Today we're gonna look at what are the best performing decks for October. There are quite a few old faces, but plenty of new ones too, so stick around and check them all out. As always, I'm not only gonna give you the best 5, but I'm also gonna tell you what are all of the working archetypes for each particular class, so don't be too sad if you don't see your favorite class out there. I would really appreciate it if you drop a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Lately, we have been barely getting any subs, and the views are just not in there, so it would really be awesome if you help me out, drop a like, a comment, like and subscribe. You have no idea how much this helps the channel, and right now we really need it. Anyway, now let's jump into the top 5. The first deck on the list is gonna be the goddamn Quest Mage. I really don't know what the hell Blizzard was thinking creating the quest for Quest Mage, which was already a very good, annoying and working archetype being a no-minion mage. But yeah, this is the reality we live in. Quest Mage is really thriving. This particular version doesn't even care for minions anymore, because opponents just have to play their minions and the frost spells are not gonna be that big of a problem for you to cast. Instead, we have a couple of Apex Blasts, which can be really great on tempo or for that extra burn late game. Usually, you should have no problem completing the quest by turn 5 and playing it around turn 6 or 7 the latest. There are quite a few other interesting versions of this deck, including one with Melganis, which really makes a lot of sense, but it's not doing as great as most of the others. And for some reason, even an Antonidas Mage is out there as well. But all in all, you can't go wrong with a classic approach like this. For the matchups, Hunters are not gonna be great, including Death Rattle Demon Hunter, because the minions are just gonna keep on pouring for you and you're not gonna be able to deal with everything. Anaconda and Miracle Druid are also problematic. Paladins with secrets might be a problem too, because you have to play around those. And also Garrote Rogue and Poison Rogue are not gonna be too friendly for you either, as well as Aggro Elemental Shaman. But everything else, as you can see, is pretty green. For the mulligan, aside from the obvious quest, you always want to be keeping Incanter's Flow. First Flame is super versatile for you, but other than that, you should be thinking about the matchup and what you need to be achieving in your first couple of turns. When going first, Ice Barrier might make a lot of sense, same as Ruined Orb. Primordial Studies can help you get some early tempo, as well as get the Arcane spell out of the way. And if you're expecting to be against a wide board opponent, Fire Sale also makes a lot of sense. When on the coin, it's pretty much the same, but you can also keep Brain Freeze and even Apex Blast, because that thing on turn 4 could really help you out. Don't get baited into keeping cards like Arcane Intellect and Refreshing Spring Water. You would prefer top decking them later on. Is the deck worth the craft? Well, it's not expensive and it really is one of the best out there, especially if you know what you're doing with it. Do I think it's getting nerfed anytime soon? I really hope it does, but I'm not really sure at this point. They're probably gonna wait for the new mini expansion to come out first, and then reevaluate if it's still the problem that it is. Other than that, Ping Mage is somewhat of a also working archetype, but as you can see the win rate for it is a lot lower. Next up, let's talk about Secret Libram Paladin, which really started rising in popularity after the latest nerfs. Again, is a very strong deck, and it's not that hard to pilot optimally too. You have the core Libram package, as well as the core Secret package with Yogg and Galloping Savior, and you tether them out with your Sword of the Fallen. We also have Libram of Judgment for that extra late game reach, as well as a nice burst of healing for you too, and we also have Varian, who usually draws 3 cards for you as well. For the matchups, Aggro Druid might be a problem, as well as Hand Buff Paladin. And also Quest Rogue might be somewhat close for you, but as you can see, everything else seems to be favorable. For the mulligan, you're always gonna want to get your Eldor Attendant, Sword of the Fallen, Nine of Anointment is also not bad, and also Alliance Bannerman. If you know you're going to be sticking a minion, Hand of Adal is also gonna be decent for you. And depending on the matchup, you might want to be keeping Samuro as well, if you think that the opponent is gonna have a wide board, especially if you're going second. Carol Rome also makes a lot of sense when you're going second, because she is a very nice reactive card. If you're already curving out nicely, you can even keep Eldor Truthseeker. And if you already have an Eldor Attendant, you can even keep a Libram of Wisdom. This is also a very good deck, but it's not very cheap. So if you don't have too much dust, maybe you should pass on this one. I don't think they're gonna be nerfing it anytime soon, but who knows what the new mini set has in store, so if you're missing too many cards, probably stay away from it for now. Other good working archetypes for Paladin would be just Libram Paladin without the secrets, just Secret Paladin without the Librams, Hand Buff Paladin is pretty nice, but it's probably gonna be best for you to stay away from Quest Paladin. Now let's check out Quest Hunter, which really started to shine after the latest nerfs as well. Right now, Quest Hunter is even better than Face Hunter, which is quite a surprise indeed. The deck is jam-packed with damaging spells, so you can finish off the quest nice and early, probably as soon as turn 5, and after that you can start spamming your opponent's face with your hero power. We also have Professor Slate in here so you can deal with all sorts of big targets. We also have Bola Shot, which also helps you with the quest, and it can be devastating with Professor Slate as well. We have Taunos for some spell power and card draw. And Devouring Swarm can be pretty interesting for you as well, because you get to get your minions back, and you can get all those powerful battle cries again. We also have Barrack Kodobane for that extra refill later on, and Ringling Rifle for that extra bit of RNG secrets. With the matchups, Aggro Druid is not going to be great, Big Warrior might be a problem, and same goes for Hand Buff Paladin, but as you can see, everything else is pretty decent. For the mulligan, usually you want your cheap damaging spells. And if you're going second, and you're curving out nicely, even Barrack Kodobane might make enough sense. Wandmaker is pretty decent so you can get another cheap spell for you. Aim Shot is pretty decent as well so you can get your quest progression going. Depending on the minions you already have, Devouring Swarm might make some sense, but usually you want to be keeping it for a little bit later on. Never keep tracking in your opening hand because you really want that after your quest is completed. And also you want to be using it when you know what cards you're looking for. And also don't be keeping Pantra early on, so you can get it after your hero power is already down to 0 later. Quest Hunter is another pretty expensive deck with 5 legendaries but 0 epics on the other hand. I'm not sure if it's getting nerfed, but I'm also not sure if it's gonna remain too strong after the mini set as well, so be careful if you're missing too many of the legendaries here. Other than that, Face Hunter is at a close second after Quest Hunter, so it's still a pretty good option for you if you already have it. There's also a Beast Hunter out there which is not doing too bad, but it's not doing as great as the others. Now let's check out Aggro Elemental Shaman, which looks pretty similar to the lists we had in the past. You basically have the core of Elemental Shaman, and we also have a couple of Doom Hammers with the Storm Strikes and the Rockbiter weapons for some huge burst later on. Inara is also working like a second Doom Hammer without the overload, and we also have Instructor Fireheart for that juicy RNG later on. With this deck, the game plan is to zerg the board with early elementals in the first half of the game and finish off your opponent with your Doom Hammer if you can't stick any more minions on the board. You have a lot of reach and a lot of early game tempo too, so it's no surprise it's one of the best decks out there right now. For the matchups, you're gonna be destroying Quest Mages and Face Hunters as well as Garrote Rogues, but Quest Warrior and Aggro Druid might be somewhat problematic. This list is running a couple of Earth Revenants instead of the Diligent Note Takers, which is going to be reducing your burst potential, so keep in mind if you're missing the Diligent Note Takers too much, Earth Revenant is the card to look at. For the mulligan, you're always gonna want your early game 1-drop elementals. Arid Stormer always gonna make sense for you. The Granite Forgeborn is also gonna be decent, but usually when you're already curving out into it, and probably going second too. Same goes for Primal Dungeoneer so you can get that card refill. Custodian is not bad so you can tether your weapon before you top deck it. And if you're going second, maybe even Jaya Worm makes enough sense so you can be trading on the board for free. Here the deck looks pretty cheap, so it's not gonna be a bad idea for you to be crafting it if you're low on dust and you don't have any good meta deck to play right now. Again, I don't think it has nerf potential here. Other than that, Quest Shaman still seems to be working, just Elemental Shaman as well is pretty good, and some people are having fun with Evolve Shaman, but I think it's a meme for now. And the last deck on the list is gonna be an interesting iteration of Aggro Druid again. Right now, the biggest bane for Aggro Druid is Quest Mages, and the answer for that might be Crossroad Watchpost, which is really gonna be very hard for the mage to deal with without buffing your board out of reach. As you guys know, I have been playing with the classic version of Aggro Druid for quite a while now, but I definitely think I will be checking out this version with the Crossroad Watchpost instead. It also runs Stockade's Guard, which is kind of a weird inclusion honestly, but I guess it's a very healthy 1-drop, which is gonna be sticking around on the board for a while. And you can also use it so you can protect some of your key targets, like Oracle of Elune for instance, or Razormane Battle Guard. For the matchups, I'm gonna be using the classic list, which is very populated. Fell Demon Hunter is gonna be very hard for you because it has all of the removal in the world. Quest Hunter is also pretty tricky because it has a lot of removal as well, and same goes for Quest Mage and even Ping Mage. Secret Libram Paladin might be close for you, but it's not that hard. And also same goes for Quest Shaman because it has a lot of random removal as well. Big Warrior and Control Warrior might be a problem, but everything else is bright green. For the mulligan, when you're going first, you want to be having a good 1-drop. Razormane is gonna be always great, especially if you already have a Taunt in hand. And if you're curving out nicely, even Oracle of Elune might make enough sense, but make sure you're playing against a class that doesn't have a way to remove it from hand. When going second, it's pretty much the same, but Greybow becomes a lot more keepable, especially if you have the Razormane. And if you manage to tempo out Razormane on turn 2, you can play a Greybow as soon as turn 3. Guardian Orc Merchant becomes a lot more keepable here as well, because you could be using it to trade off 1 health minions or protect your own. And again, Oracle of Elune not that bad as well. If you're against the Mage and you're going second, I would be assuming that we are going to be keeping the new tower as well. Aggro Druid is another very cheap deck, with quite the good results on it too. I'm not sure if they're gonna be nerfing it anytime soon, so for now I think you should be safe crafting this deck. For Druid, obviously Aggro Druid is the way to go, but also Anaconda Druid can be pretty good too. But you have to be very good with that deck. Clown Druid is also doing somewhat decently, and there's also Quest Druid above 50%, but it's really not that good. And as you can see, Miracle Druid is not really doing too much miracles right now. So that's it for the 5 top decks. Now let's look at the other classes I haven't mentioned so far. For Demon Hunter, you have quite a few to choose from, including Fell Demon Hunter, Death Rattle Demon Hunter, Fell Rattle Demon Hunter, which combines the two. And in High Legend, even Quest Lifesteal Demon Hunter is working quite decently too, but you have to really know what you're doing with this deck. For Priest, Aggro Shadow Priest is still above 50%, but not by much. And there's also a Quest Priest that is barely above 50% as well. Control Priest is also trying to get back, but not too great so far. And there is some Corrupt Priest as well, but it ain't doing too hot. With Rogue, we have Poison Rogue, Quest Rogue, which is doing great even in Top Legend, and also Garrett Rogue. For Warlock, Quest Handlock is actually still pretty much at the top, and I almost included it in this top 5, but I really didn't feel like it. It's definitely a lot harder to pull it off nowadays, and you have to be really good with it to make it work, but when you do, it really does work. And for Warrior, we have plenty to choose from with Quest Control Warrior, Big Warrior, a more tempo-y Quest Warrior as well, Rush Warrior is somewhat doing it as well, and quite a few variations of those decks. So that's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do, it would really be awesome if you drop a like and a subscribe on the channel. It would really help me out. Don't forget you can hire me for some Hearthstone coaching to Legend as well. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video, or stream.